It's a brand new day, Monday it is. Welcome to Breakfast Central on News Central. Yes, we made it. Despite the torrential falls, the heavy rain, it's raining not just cats and dogs, but hippos, elephants, and not forgetting all the animals that you could ever think of, because Lagos is indeed submerged. But we hope that when there's a recess, the waters will indeed, go away. But then again, welcome to Breakfast Central. I am Joe Hansen.
And I'm Benga Bora, reaching you from a rainy Lagos this beautiful Monday morning, the start of the brand new week, the first week of August, I believe. And a lot is going on over the weekend. Massive announcements were made, so many things happening in politics. And we're here to dissect and give you all the information you need here on Breakfast Central. So sit back, relax, and grab a cup of coffee, tea, whatever beverage you want to start your day with, and join us on Breakfast Central. Like usual tradition, again, Nigerians were the best. Young Nigerians are making us proud week in, week out. So let's give it up for the Tigress. They're following in the footsteps of their footballing counterparts.
Yes.
They conquered Africa.
That's it. They did. It wasn't
$1,000 here for the footballing girls, another hopefully for the Tigress. So it's raining funds in Abuja. Yes, just the way it's raining in Lagos this morning. So congratulations to the girls. You made us proud. And Mr. President did tweet at the girls. But that's one of the tweets from the girls, I believe.
Yes. There she's saying, y'all should put some respect on our name, I beg. Make una help us call president. Say our house is ready and money.
Putting the presidency on notice.
Like no time.
They started a precedent, and you have to maintain it.
Yes.
Anything less would be unfair to the girls, honestly.
Absolutely.
The president has started something which he should keep up.
So this is where the question comes in, Binga. Should the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, also give the same amount that was given to the girls? What do you think?
On paper, he should.
$100,000.
If I was in the presidency, but I'm sure they would be like, they would say, you will be embarrassing the president. If he did it 24 hours later, that okay, there was a mix-up. I meant $10,000 each. But in the calculations, it's just $1 million. So what's $1 million to Nigeria? If you look at the bigger picture of things, so he should also reward the basketball. And the good thing about the basketball team is they're smaller. The girls are
they're a total of they're a bit smaller. You have
how many people play?
You have about 5 players playing. You have 5 on the bench. You can have an extra 4 or 10, which gives you a total of 50. Pretty much, not too much, not too. The disparity or the difference is, yes, it's a bit smaller. Like football, where you have 11 players on the pitch, and then you might also have another 10, and so on. But should he give them $100,000 each? And is he also going to give them?
If you don't give them, then you're trying to say that basketball is a lesser sport than
basketball is a
football.
felele or something.
Yeah, basketball is a felele. But honestly, you need to even encourage basketball more, because the facilities are hard to come by.
Are you being sarcastic?
No. You don't have courts around. Football, anybody can just get the round leather game and play everywhere. So you need to encourage
when the president gave out
basketball.
That $100,000. The backlash.
Yes, I was against it. But
so
since he has started,
do we have money? The doctors are there. The nurses are there. The roads are in a deplorable condition. That would bring me to my next conversation.
Bro, how dare you
after
look
we're
at the
done
giants
with this.
of Africa and say, do we have money? We're using $500 million to renovate an airport.
That's that conversation. We're also going to have that one.
So
is that the most important thing?
Whether it's important or not is secondary. What we are fixing now is we're seeing mega projects, and we're seeing the presidency dole out money left, right, center. But congratulations to the girls. And Mali and Senegal are no walkovers in basketball. You're basketball head. Sure. You know these things.
Yeah, go on. You wanted to take.
This is the presidency's tweet. The tweet from His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. he tweeted and said, "You needed girls, the Tigress NG, superb performance to become 5 times consecutive champions of Africa and 7th overall. Well done, Coach Renner and the team. You have made Nigeria proud. I'm expecting you all along with the trophy. Mission 5 done and dusted." Personally signed by Mr. President PBAT. And of course, the First Lady follows suit. I congratulate the Tigress national basket team at the Tigress NG for qualifying for the finals of this year's tournament. Your 10-year unbeaten run is commendable as it shows your commitment, dedication, hard work, and love for the game. You're true inspirations and pride to girls and women in general. Thank you for keeping the Nigerian flag flying. I pray that you step out for the final match. God will crown your efforts and grant you great success. We will await your arrival with the trophy again. God bless you, the Tigress national basketball team. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That's Senator Oluremi Tinubu, First Lady of Nigeria. And it was very prophetic. That was before they played the finals. And then they went for the finals. And, you know,
Benga, those days.
Football.
Those days, Benga. Oh, you know, I give the girls motivation
I
too.
wonder what will be going on in the mind of the male athletes.
You know,
they would want to win, but this is good motivation. This is good motivation. You think if the boys are watching this,
boys are watching this.
Idea.
You know why I'm happy? I'm happy on the other hand that the ladies it's their time.
Yes,
and
shining.
I love it.
Because the men have always been in
because the men have always been at the forefront. Remember what happened? You know better. Nigeria. Remember what happened in '94 and so on and so forth. Atlanta '96. It's good. It's not that the girls haven't had their fair share. They have when it comes to athletics and the other things.
I think that's why they've been.
And they've also done well.
They're only just getting this recognition now. The girls are doing it 5 times consecutive.
Well, they've always had, but it's never been. I like what you just said now, because the question again is, why is it that the recognition is now becoming louder compared to what it was? Because they won it the first time, second time, third time, fourth time, and the fifth.
Is the recognition getting louder, or is the money
that louder? Is where I'm going to. So it's becoming louder now because of the time we find ourselves. One, the economic challenges. Two, have you seen that even politics has gone even inside what we call sports? Is now, it used to be known to hobnob each other. They used to, whether you like it or not. Remember when the Super Eagles did win? Of course, the president will welcome them, promise them, and so on and so forth. But this time, it's a bit louder because I think I would give credit to the advent of social media.
Oh yes.
Yeah, because in Atlanta '96, it's only what you saw on TV, but now there's social media, everybody's talking. And even
governors are also threatening the ladies.
Exactly.
Everybody wants to associate with success.
I saw that the governor of Adamawa State also celebrated the coach of the Super Falcons, giving him 50 million naira. Wow. So that coach will be going home with a house, a renewed hope house. He already has 55 million. 55 million from the presidency, 50 million from the governor. Don't forget the Governors Forum too. They've also contributed as well. So, Benga.
And there's also Corporate Nigeria. There are things we haven't even.
They were also hosted by the telecom companies, where they were. I'm sure they'll be giving mobile devices, recharge cards they will use for a year, and so on.
It's good to be. Please, is there any journalism competition? Let's enter.
Benga,
all those guys are just winning money.
Don't be shocked if you see me coaching the next football team.
Yes.
You know, telling them, move.
Football is taking, go for volleyball.
Funny enough,
female volleyball.
Not to toot my horn, but I used to play semi-pro basketball at a certain point. So, football pretty much. So I think I could pass. I could pass for that. But then again, to the haters who are talking on my ears, talk about the producers, it's fine. Don't hate the player. We used to say hate the game. All right, that's
haters gonna hate, potatoes gonna potato.
That's it. Well, congratulations to Super Falcons. Congratulations to the Tigress. But let's see if the Tigress will receive exactly what the president did give to the Super Falcons and what this will mean for Nigerians. Hey, because the conversations will become so much that
people are waiting.
Everybody's waiting to see. But if I were the president, what would you do? Let me ask you first. What
Honestly,
would you do? You said you give the same?
I have to maintain the same energy.
I wouldn't.
Because of what I did the first time.
I wouldn't, and I'll tell you why.
But there will be backlash. Regardless of what he does.
If you're an advisor to the president, what would you tell him?
I'll tell him to
same.
maintain the status quo.
I will tell him not to. And the reason? The Super Falcons, 10 years. 10th, did I say 10 years? No, 10th victory.
Yeah, but it's not the
10-time
same
champion.
girls that played the previous 10
The
editions.
Tigress, 5. So half of 150 is what? It should be either 70
Yeah.
or 80. So I'll do 75. So let him just do 70.
Yeah, but then, following your argument, it's not the same girls that won it.
And it doesn't
the
matter.
Last 10
It doesn't
episodes.
matter. Is it the same girls
Editions.
that won
Tigress.
the Super Falcons? Are they the same girls?
Yeah.
Some of them they've changed. A lot of them, they love players.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
have
So
stopped
it's the team itself. It's
so
not
it doesn't matter. I'm talking about the
girls.
duration, but it's
Yeah.
fine. I mean, let the president do what the president does. We
Well,
would
we
wait
got-
here.
man, the
But
president-
don't forget, Mr. President, the nurses are calling on you because they need to be paid.
And also
It's
the
very
doctors,
critical. The
Nigerian Medical
doctors as well.
Association, they should be in their 8th day of their 21-day renewed notice to go
Yeah.
on strike. So please attend to them.
Please permit me, before we go to our next wake-up conversation, let me use this medium to call on the governor of Lagos State, His Excellency, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, whom I've been privileged to meet, and also I've been privileged to have an event where, you know, he's been part of for almost 3 times. Please, if the governor is watching, which I believe his aides or his SAs are watching, we need help in Lagos.
Serious help.
The roads are in deplorable condition. And let me say clearly, since we have the platform, Lagos, my dear colleague here, whom I respect very much, Benga Aborowa, did a package and a report talking about how dark Lagos is.
That was 5 months ago.
5 months ago, and nothing has really been done. This morning, I got here by the whiskers. And by the whiskers, I simply mean for the following reasons. One, there was a dead body.
Wow.
And I'm just going to say, I don't know if that dead body, I presume it's still there. There's a dead body on VGC, just outside VGC there, lying in the middle of the road. In the heavy downpour, it doesn't matter if your fog lights are brighter, I almost ran over it. I had to swerve.
Could be
And in
traumatizing.
swerving, there was a covert just to my left. I don't know how I did it, but I had to also manage to get back on track while not climbing on that dead body. In the heavy rain. Why?
No lights.
Everywhere was
Pitch darkness.
dark. Now, going further, the potholes. I saw a
different
car
of Lekki Expressway.
who lost his tires. His tires were gone. The front tires were gone, and I felt sad for this man. You need to see the potholes we have on that Lekki axis.
It's
If
terrible.
care is not taken, somebody can jump inside.
If you're not
the way it's going.
familiar with the road,
And it's totally dark. Like someone said, Lagos happens to start falling under one of the ways, 1,000 ways to die. Lagos can be part of that. If care is not the way it's going, it's too dark.
I've had blown out tires on Ozumba and by the way.
Blown out tires.
2 times.
The roads
Because
are
of
bad.
potholes.
There's no light. When you're driving there, sometimes what we do is we memorize where the holes are. But today, my brother, I could not, where the holes were, I missed them. Because while I was dodging the ones I already know, I was seeing the ones I've never seen before.
And this is the situation in most parts of the capital. Mr. Governor, please, you need to declare a state of emergency on the roads and the lack of street lights in Lagos. These are basics, and it's a public safety hazard. Please, as a matter of urgency, as Joe has said, let's fix Lagos and return it to status as a center of excellence.
You know what hurts me the most? Lagos State generated 1.4 trillion naira IGR in 2024.
The highest
internally generated revenue.
in the country.
And they had an increase of 35% that they've never had before from Land Use Act.
And then the
An
federal
increase.
increase in federal government allocations.
Increase.
Because of
So,
the
exactly.
savings from subsidies.
Exactly.
So,
So-
what's all this money used for?
And then we're preaching solar. What is going on? Can the lights be on solar?
I mean, we've seen Third Mainland Bridge. It's on solar, and then it works perfectly. So why can't you light up Lagos?
It's an appeal, please. Please. And to the young man who lost his life on the floor there, we don't know. We're just going on the authorities to please do us a favor and do their best to get there. But that's just an appeal, and I just had to use this platform to do so, because I know that just like myself, many other Nigerians who are applying that route as we speak,
so many people
would have a difficult time with the rainy seasons just yet.
It's really terrible.
But let's move on to our next story very quickly. She's back again, Benga.
Yes.
And we're talking about...
cannot keep Nigeria out of her mouth.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, this is somebody that says she stopped identifying as Nigerian, and then every other opportunity she gets, she talks about Nigeria. I guess you can't, blood is thicker than water, like you say. But in an interview, the leader of the Conservative Party in the United Kingdom, Kemi Badenoch, said that her secondary school in Nigeria felt like prison. Please take a listen.
Federal government girls' school in a place called Shagamu, and that was like being in prison. When I tell the stories about using a machete and having, because there are no lawnmowers, that's the place that I'm talking about, having to fetch buckets of water. And that was the first time that I was away from home, away from my family, and I wasn't just looking.
This is a boarding school.
Yes, it's a federal boarding school, and it was very.
You shared a dormitory with other girls.
We're about 150, I think. 20 to 30 in a room, and there were 6 rooms.
And so the machete is for cutting the grass.
Yes, cutting the grass.
Explain why were you cutting the grass?
Well, because who else is going to cut the grass? It's just, it's the
grass grows and you have machetes to cut it.
Exactly. They're not, this is a federal school where this is the old grammar school system sort of fading out, and everyone who passed an exam and got a certain score got to go to a federal school, and this was more socialism. So they sprinkled people around. They didn't want one school getting all the best results. They would mix people about. So you could end up getting sent thousands of miles away to a boarding school, at the extreme end of the country. So I was lucky. I didn't get sent too far away, but I was very far from home. I'd never been away from home before, and it was like Lord of the Flies. The students were in control. We needed to look after the school ground, so using a machete, having to clean toilets with no running water. I'm not going to go into the description of that, but it is very, very, very grotty. And so that was when I talk about the hardship, it's often being in that school, but I still always carry with me that understanding that you never know where you're going to end up.
That's it, the leader of the Conservative Party in the United Kingdom, Kemi Badenoch, sharing not so fond memories of life in secondary school in Nigeria. I believe after she left Federal Government Girls College in Shagamu, she proceeded to the International School of University of Lagos International School, ISL, and that must have been a better experience. But I mean, reactions have been pouring in left, right, and center. So many people are slating her for still never having anything positive to say about Nigeria, and others are saying, she has the agency to tell her story, and that a lot of Nigerians are living in trauma, that truly some of those secondary schools are highly dysfunctional, and we should not be celebrating suffering at this level. Children should not be cutting grass with machetes. You should employ people with lawn mowers to cut the grass.
Let's take some reactions very quickly before we come back to the studio. Dolakbo, a classic, says, she's doing too much at this point. Some of us also attended boarding house schools in Ogun State, and all of these realities shaped us for better, actually, even though it was really a traumatic experience. But the true and genuine ex-boarding house students saw them as part of our building. Kemi, it's enough. Just calm down. But for real, our government needs to do better, especially in our academic sector. Prissy says, this comment section shows how much we have normalized dysfunction in this country. You went through the same traumatic situation and you are okay with not talking about it. Doesn't mean someone else shouldn't tell a story. There's nothing pleasant about a child having to go through all of that. Another reaction there says, I totally understand Kemi's point. Back in my school days, we had to clear grass, sweep classrooms, and do similar chores. If you arrived late, you'd be assigned a patch of land to weed as punishment. We did it. But looking back, it wasn't right. We're there to learn, not to be used for manual labor. I completely agree with Kemi on this. Our schools in Nigeria need to do better. And the comments, final one. Devil in the details says, deep down he's laughing at her because he would have experienced some hardships going to school himself. Any old white person in England would tell how harsh and tough school was in the 60s and 70s for them. Even the 80s teachers were beating kids with rulers. Well, you do have a point if you go through the history a bit, and then you'd find out what the educational system was like, especially in the United Kingdom. But then again, Olive joins us live on Breakfast Central, looking all olive, but this time not.
You know, celebrating the tigress. Yes.
Yes. I'd rather
You're joining them to Aston Villa, right?
The land is great.
Well, you know, I would have loved to, but because of the peculiarities of our show and the work that is needed here, you know, it's great when you turn on the TV and you see these two men, and then you also
tell management to invest in a private jet so you can hop in and hop back.
That's a very valid. That's a very.
And if you look at it, really, what's really $100,000 when you're doing a great job? Yeah, you don't need that, do you?
Please don't shake away from you. Congratulations to the Tigress for making us proud, and thank you for holding the fort. Basketball is as important as football, and I'm sure that you will get all the celebration that you deserve. And we'll continue to talk about that. But now let's come to, excuse me, Kemi Badenoch. There's so many things very interesting. You can own your truth and tell your story without having to demean, denigrate another. It seems as though Kemi is on a mission. You know, she was reported to have said that, yes, she's Nigerian by ancestry, but not really Nigerian, in a way not associated.
Somebody that went to secondary school. I know boys that are more British than her, that went to Harrow. And my worry with what is happening with Kemi Badenoch is because it's some form of cultural amnesia, where she seems to have forgotten her background. Kemi's parents were able to give birth to her in the UK, in England, because at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, she has been given that opportunity. Her parents are immigrant parents as well. So what you're doing is you're not creating a great precedent. You can be British now. Yes, she hasn't renewed her Nigerian passport for over a decade, even though she went on national TV and lied about not being able to hand over citizenship to her child, which is a blatant lie, because anyone who does a little research will know that they're automatically Nigerian by descent. But it would seem that she's getting a lot of publicity from the Nigerian audience. She enjoys how she's riling up the Nigerian audience. I remember the first time... Her journey in politics started by appealing to the Nigerian community in the UK.
It looks to me like this is
support her.
Yeah, so it looks to me like maybe she didn't, I don't know if she got as much support as she wanted, but I mean, here she is, but it feels like she's trying to get back at them. She's trying to erase a part of her.
Maybe it's trauma.
So I don't understand what kind of trauma it is. What we're saying is...
the HC experience.
Excuse me, all of us, I went to boarding house. A number of us went to boarding house. Are we saying that Nigeria has the best boarding house?
But there are people that are saying we're normalizing dysfunctionality.
No, it's not normalizing dysfunctionality. You can choose which...
part of...
No, so at the end of the day, the same way that a number of us will say the way we were raised...
But many of us will run away from taking our children to the schools.
What I'm saying is, the way that a number of us will criticize the way that we went to school, or the way that our parents raised us. If you see now we're doing gentle parenting, our parents didn't always do gentle parenting, our grandparents didn't do gentle parenting. Things are evolving. The fact that it was something that happened in time past, doesn't mean it was the best. It doesn't mean that we all had the best situations. But she seems to be on a roll, seems to deliberately look for the stories that paint Nigeria in a bad light. Nigeria is not...
things she said about Nigeria.
There are so many positive things. She cannot deny that there are so many positive
things. Even the mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, of Indian ancestry,
who came to Nigeria
and was saying good things about Nigeria.
You know what's even wild? The fact that no matter how British Kemi Badenoch claims to be, she will never be completely seen as British.
No. Exactly.
When they said, I saw some tweets when they were saying, Britain is our home, not a hotel. People say, which home? Who is this R? The English people themselves were replying to her saying, who is this R that you speak about? So no matter how British she is, they would probably never see her as British enough. Remember how she was shut down in the house when she talked? I mean, I don't want to make reference to that, but I would say at this point, Kemi Badenoch needs to chill. She needs to chill. It would look like this podcasters and bloggers and interviewers know that anytime she says anything in reference to Nigeria, it will gather dust, it will gather news for them.
I also think
she falls for it all the time.
I also think it's a strategy for her. And I think it's a strategy because she knows what she's looking
knows her
for.
base.
And for her to push that strategy, she needs to tell a story. And I think it's all gimmick when she sits with her team and they say, listen, you need to build a story around where you started from, how life was from where you came from, how you've left the trenches, in quotes.
Oh, so like an Obama type
exactly.
of story.
I had no shoes kind of story.
Did Obama denigrate?
It's a strategy.
So at the end of the day, what she's trying to do
strategy.
is she's erasing her roots in favor of her political position.
Yeah, to show that, listen, I'm a bona fide.
But that's terrible, because you can be both Nigerian and British and aspire to the highest levels of leadership, which is where she is right now. She's in a great place, and she's shaping a very dangerous narrative for aspiring black leaders, that you can't both be Nigerian and British, that the moment you get to a position of leadership, you should erase the foundation, the nation, the culture that shaped you. What they typically refer to people that do that is they call them coconuts. Black on the outside, white on the inside.
That's what it is. Really, that's what it is. But then again,
you've hit the nail on the head.
But then again, I think we all should, maybe on breakfast, we'll draw the line. Any Kemi Badenoch story again, I think we'll have to trash it in.
It's public information.
I just let it go, because I don't think we need to waste our time on it. This is the third time. The third time, like they say, is what? And I think she's proving to us that
I saw someone on X who said she's having a cultural identity crisis.
Oh yeah, but like I said, I think
we had time to talk about the boarding school experience and what needs to change and how much it has shaped your character in who you are today.
Yes.
I happened to go to,
I
went to a very extreme boarding school. I went to Nigerian Military School, Zaria, a full military school. We wore uniforms to class every day. I was there for 2 years. When I couldn't take it anymore, I had to jump ship and told my dad, I want to go to civilian school, please. This military career, I don't do anymore. She's complaining about cutting grass. We did more than that. We rode in mud, but it was part of shaping us. And I'm thankful for the friends and the families I made as boys. Last year we celebrated 25 years since we graduated.
So the thing is not to normalize brutality and not to normalize children not being prioritized in the education space and, normalizing manual labor. But you can't take the good and the good and the bad are part of the things that make us into who we are. They've shaped us into the, these experiences have formed the core of who we are. So are we saying that we should take everything as is? No, there should be improvements, of course, and it's okay to point out. What we're just saying is not good is that every time she has to speak about Nigeria, every time she keeps looking for how to trash the country. Whether she likes it or not, there is Nigeria in her blood, and she can't take that away.
She can't run away from it.
She probably needs a Will Smith moment at the Oscars. Yeah. Keep Jada out of my mouth.
Keep Nigeria out of my mouth.
Keep Nigeria out of my mouth. Anyway, that's all the story we're going to take on Wake Up Conversations, because our time is indeed rife and we need to move on to the show proper. Just in case you're just tuning in, well, let's tell you that you can tweet us. We're on X. You can follow us on all socials. Plus, drop a comment or two on our YouTube live streaming of Breakfast Central. And we'll look forward to read your comments when you drop them there. But in the meantime, let's go straight into our top stories on a wet, very wet Monday morning here in Lagos. Today on Breakfast Central on the Monday morning, marginalization claim hits Tinubu's government. It's starting to become something that needs to be looked into. Federal government okays Lagos airport renovation. Gbenga mentioned the figure. I bet you know it too. But let's talk about it. Is it priority? Niger State governor shuts down radio station. Does he have the powers to do so according to the constitution? And Japanese gifts firmer construction equipment. Maybe they'll use it to fix the Lekki Road. We don't know. Newspaper front pages will be up as well by 9, so stick around. Let's make a date.
Allegations of marginalization have recently surfaced against the Tinubu-led administration, with critics claiming that federal appointments have disproportionately favored certain regions. The Alaibo Development Foundation, ADF, cited the composition of the newly formed National Population Commission, which includes 5 Yoruba and 3 Northern members with no representative from the Southeast. ADF also criticized the removal of Dr. Nkiru Kachidi Amaduekwe as Director General of the Nigerian Climate Change Council, replaced by a Yoruba nominee despite her earlier presidential commendation.
Similarly, Ohanes Ndigo raised concerns over the 10-year extension of Comptroller General Bashir Adewale Adeniyi, arguing it could block the promotion of DCGP Nwafo from Anambra State. Join us this morning to discuss this development is the convener of the Country First Movement, Professor Chris Mustafa Nwakobia Jr. Good morning to you, Prof. A warm welcome to you. And we're happy to have you on Breakfast Central.
Good morning, everyone.
It's good to see you this rainy morning in Lagos. Now, let's get to the business at hand. Nigeria's constitution mandates equitable representation through the federal character principle. And the question is the Tinubu administration violating this principle? Have they adhered to the federal character principle in the appointments you've seen in the last 2 years?
Well, we have had this initiative. We learned Buhari for his notice appointment. We thank him for big and what I thought was people in the society, the political class.
Well, we seem to have a little challenge with your audio, Prof. Hopefully we can fix that and try to get the audio working so that we can get your responses loud and clear. But let's do this. Let's go for a quick break. When we come back, I will try as much as possible to continue this conversation. Very interesting one indeed. And we'll try to find out what your thoughts are. Do well to stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us here on Breakfast Central. We're taking a look at the marginalization claims made by certain groups affecting their thoughts concerning appointments and much more, especially on the current President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. But we do have convener of Country First Movement, Professor Chris Mustapha Nwakobia Jr., who's here with us still. Thanks for staying with us. I know, Benga, you did ask a question, so I'll just let Benga go ahead.
Yes, my question was, are you seeing a pattern here of the Tinubu administration violating the principle of federal character in the appointments they've made so far in the heads of parastatals and agencies?
When you were very right to raise this about Provisions Chapter 2 of the 1999 Constitution. If you can you hear what?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Right. Chapter 2 was applied to what called the directive principle of state policy, fundamental objectives of state. Now, what we have seen over the past since 2015, the consistent delegation from those on the top parties. We tried against nepotism, and we are letting him be against elections county. It has been once within the past 2 years. So I've seen the appointment would also be against several sections country.
Okay, Prof, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I think we might have a really tight situation in our hands with the network connectivity. But what we'll do is we'll try as much as possible to have our engineers work with you to see if we can get your audio working again. But prior to that, or before we come back to you, let's quickly also run through another piece of story. Hopefully, we'll be able to come back to you on that. So, for the benefit of our viewers, please do stay with us. In the meantime, before we return to that conversation, let's quickly tell you that the Minister of State for Works, Bello Goronyo, has assured of the federal government's commitment to providing adequate road infrastructure for citizens in its drive to improve commerce and improve the nation's economy. The minister made this known in Abuja as he received state-of-the-art construction equipment at the ministry's headquarters in Abuja, donated by the Japanese government to the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency. Goronyo says that the equipment worth over 3.6 billion naira will help FEMA fulfill its mandate, renovate dilapidated roads across the country and impact nation's gross domestic product. And hopefully that would include the Lekki-Ekpe axis. I'm just saying. Our correspondent, by the way, Sumaya Abubakar, has more in this report.
A According to the Government Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission, Nigeria has about 195,000 kilometers of road network, out of which only about 60,000 kilometers are tarred and 135,000 kilometers remain uncharted. The figure above shows that Nigeria has the largest road network in West Africa, cutting across 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. The situation, however, poses a Herculean task in ensuring that they are properly maintained.
Our roads are arteries of our nation, vital for commerce, agriculture, healthcare, and the daily lives of our citizens.
With the Federal Road Maintenance Agency saddled with ensuring the maintenance of the network, challenges from lack of availability of funds and equipment has continued to pose a major challenge. The Federal Ministry of Works, in a bid to support FEMA in fulfilling its responsibility, has recently partnered with the Japanese government, a partnership that has witnessed the donation of construction equipment worth billions of naira to help FEMA fulfill its mandate.
This donation of advanced road construction equipment worth 3.6 billion naira is a game changer. It has significantly enhanced FEMA's capacity to carry out its mandate more efficiently and effectively.
I'm convinced that this will surely be a major contribution to FEMA as it continues to properly maintain and service the roads in Nigeria. And this is more than just a machine. It also represents innovation and efficiency in road maintenance.
The Minister of State for Works, Bello Gorenyo, while commissioning the advanced road construction and maintenance equipment, says that it will help improve the nation's existing infrastructure, including Nigeria's gross domestic product. Also, the Japanese ambassador to Nigeria, Suzuki Hideo, added that the equipment will help improve the lives of citizens.
It is the infrastructure that contributes significantly to the GDP of any nation. We are witnessing a transformative wave of road infrastructural development driven by Mr. President.
Better roads mean improved access to markets, schools, and healthcare facilities, stimulate economic activities, and contribute to poverty reduction.
The minister assured of President Bola Tinubu's commitment to improving critical infrastructure in the country, saying that the equipment will be judiciously put to use. In Abuja, for News Central, Sumaya Abubakar.
I guess we should be expecting Japanese standard roads.
That's it.
Giving
Premium.
Tokyo and Narita kind of vibe.
I don't know but the roads are good now. The good thing, did he just say Naruto? My goodness gracious. The roads are good now. That's what we've, the roads rather are set to be good now that we have.
Because I wanted to ask you which roads are good now.
However, I did mention before Olive joined us on Wake Up Conversation, I did mention how deplorable
It was, he had a very harrowing experience.
Harrowing experience. Almost ran over a dead body on just outside VGC
because of the
there.
darkness and the bad state of road.
It's bad. So let's hope that now that we have, should we even, this is part of the, are we going to say this is part of the equipment the president had mentioned in his speech that they're expecting to bring in tractors? That was for agriculture.
No, this is a donation.
That was for agriculture.
Yeah,
this is a donation. So that's
and,
fine. That
and
means
kudos to the people, the great people of Japan. I would like to say arigato gozaimasu to my Japanese friends.
What did you just say?
Thank you in
say
Japanese.
It again.
Arigato gozaimasu. Yes.
So let's be sure that I'm speaking the correct thing. I'm not shipping for them.
Binga, whether it's arigato or whether it's eshi, whether it's shinshi.
We get the message.
The
I
point
mean, we
is,
are very thankful.
let's see good roads. And that's exactly what Nigerians are looking forward to have. But then again, we do understand that civil society groups are also talking in Rivers State. I don't know, Binga, this story is one that calls for serious attention. You do have the information, right?
Yes,
civil society groups.
I mean, it's Rivers State. We still need to tell you that it's still under the sole administratorship. What's it called?
Sole administrator.
Yeah, sole administratorship. And now civil society groups in Rivers State are kicking against the process ahead of the local government elections slated for August the 30th. The Rivers State civil society organizations are calling on electors to boycott the election while questioning the source of funding for the election.
The current composition of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, RISEC, is illegal and unconstitutional, as it was not established by a duly elected governor as required by Section 198 of the 1999 Constitution of Nigeria as amended. We cannot overemphasize this point. We are saying that the person that has the authority, the backing, the spirit of our Constitution to so do is the governor of Rivers State, His Excellency Sars Murray Fubara. And we are calling on Rivers people, well-meaning Rivers people, we are calling on political parties, all election stakeholders, and indeed security agencies, and every serious-minded Rivers man and woman resident in Rivers State, Nigerians resident in Rivers State, voting adults in Rivers State to boycott the illegal elections as proposed by the illegal RISEC.
Welcome back to Breakfast Central, and we have some great news here. Professor Chris Mustafa Nwakobia has joined us, and hopefully we'll have a better conversation. Apologies for the back and forth, Prof, but let's get back into it. Yes, I was talking about the violation of the principle of federal character by the Tinubu administration. What's your take on it?
Clearly, Brenda, I hope you hear me this time.
Yes, we can.
The truth, loud and clear.
The truth is that Chapter 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which provides for fundamental objectives and directive principles of state policy, lampoons at skewed appointments against sections, against regions, against sex, against gender. And as I talk to you, what is fundamentally important is that in 2025, when this administration, the APC administration came on board, they made promises about cohesion, about unity, about carrying every section of the country along. I remember that in the formation of the APC, we lampooned Jonathan's administration as being nepotistic. But tragically, when the Buhari administration came on board, it raised nepotistic tendencies to an Olympic level. As I talk to you very sadly, it is not as though this government has done the Southwest a favor. It has been so skewed to appointments favoring Lagos as a state, not necessarily the Southwest. You know, I tell people that Tinubu has raised nepotism, skewed appointments, and an infraction against the provisions of Chapter 2 of the Constitution to an all-time high. If you look at the appointing protocols of Mr. President, you find out that the Southeast, the South, the Northeast, the North Central appears alienated in the appointing protocols of government. And for those who are listening to us, it would be likely unfair to think that we're crying wolf, because what we're talking about is a provision of the Constitution, is the expectations of the Constitution. The reason for which you have Chapter 2 of the Constitution, which provides for the federal character normative, is to create some kind of unity, equity, fairness, and a strong sense of belonging. In a multi-ethnic nation like ours, you need to carry everybody along. Tragically, a president who did not win more than 37% of votes cast in the last election has been very alienating of tendencies across the country. I'll give you a practical instance. If you look at the entire economic team, apart from the office of the vice president, that according to the Constitution heads the economic team, the president is the Minister of Petroleum. The CBN governor is from the Southwest. The Minister of Finance is from the Southwest. The DG of Custom is from the Southwest. Blue economy, the minister in charge of blue economy is from the Southwest. Every major FIRS from the Southwest. And then you ask yourself, has nobody within the presidency or a minder at the presidency, has no one mustered up the guts to say to Mr. President, Mr. President, we are not obeying the Constitution. The Constitution envisages that you carry everybody along and give every region and section of this country a sense of belonging. And with particular pain in my heart, I saw the last appointment, for which I guess is the reason for this discussion. You go through the board appointments, you go through the CBN board appointments, all the appointments. You ask yourself, does this president not understand that he's superintending over a country as large as our country? Does he not understand the fact that you have variegated tendencies in this country? Does he not understand the fact that every part of this country should be given a sense of belonging? Why is he doing this? You know, if he had won a landslide election or victory, if he had won so much votes from the Southwest, as it were, because when I look at it, he lost Lagos State in the last general election. Is he doing this because he wants to win Lagos? What about the other 35 states of the country? What about the FCT? You know, I think that the minders of this president and the minders of the presidency should call our dear president to really look at these issues, because every section, every tendency, every faith, every gender should have a sense of belonging in the governance of our country.
All right. You did mention in your speech that maybe if there's anyone within the president's cabinet that hasn't spotted this, but I don't know if we have the list. We'd love to put the list on the screen there just for a little while so we could look at it carefully, although you mentioned some of them. The list indeed sees a lot of persons appointed by the president holding very big positions and making decisions, especially for the country, all coming from the Southwest and very few from the northern part. Recently, some of the northern members of a forum did speak out to tell the president that it's too late, especially the newly formed coalition party told the president that it's too late for him to start thinking of giving positions, as it were, to people from the north. Do you think that this will in any way impact on the 2027 elections, especially how he is being perceived as a number one citizen, but of course not following what we see here by taking only selected members of a particular nationality or group, rather?
No, let me say quickly that the North is very aggrieved, and so is the Southeast, so is the South-South, and so is the North-Central and the Northeast. You know, I have wondered whether Nigeria has been reduced to simply the Northwest and the Southwest. Any president who truly cares about country, you know, the movement I should pretend is called Country First, who truly cares about a country so variegated in tendencies, creed, clan, and faith like ours, would do well to carry everybody along. And the office of president simply suggests that the president will be the father of the nation, not segregating against any tendency or proclivity, if you like. Now, what has made this issue far more stringent, as we discussed, is the fact that we have, like you noted, 2027 staring us in the face. So he does appear to, on the one hand, he wants to seem to be interested in giving some sense of balance, but every passing day, you find out that it is one step forward and 10 steps backward, you know. And I think that it will affect him badly in 2027. Whatever he does with the court jesters and hypocrites and sycophants who are in the public space saying that this president is carrying everybody along. I watched a program yesterday by some elements in the APC in the Middle Belt, the North Central, saying that our president has been able to carry people of different tendencies along. But that's gross falsehood. That's gross misinformation. It is clear that Nigerians across ethnicities, across tendencies are angry. It is clear that the framers of the Constitution intended a nation that works towards fairness, equity, inclusiveness, and unity. It is clear that Nigerians want to live together and have a sense of belonging. And that was what the framers of Chapter 2 of the 1999 Constitution envisaged. Very unfortunately, Buhari took us to a low. The presidency of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has taken us to an Olympic level in the infraction of Chapter 2 of the Constitution. He has been very unfair to other tendencies, other sections, other zones, and other regions. And I want to say to Nigerians who are listening to me and to those who truly care about our president, it was Madiba, Nelson Mandela, who said that the time is always right to do right. It is not too late in the day to correct these anomalies. It is not too late in the day to correct these monumental infractions. You must give the Nigerian people a sense of belonging. I want to see a country where the Hausa man, as well as the Igbo man, as well as the Yoruba, the Jokum, the Robo man, has a true sense of belonging. I want to see a country where our brotherhood, our unity is given a thumbs up. I want to see a president who cares about every tendency in our country and who carries everybody along. Tragically and unfortunately, this president hasn't done a good job of that.
All right, beyond the appointments, there's also been allegations of channeling resources to the development of the South. Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso, in a 2025 constitutional amendment forum that was set up by the Kano State government, made some very strong allegations where he says that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has, used these resources to develop the South at the detriment of the North. He, of course, attributed rising poverty and insecurity to this. But then again, there was a response by Chief Sonny Onwuesoke, who is Chairman CEO of DAS Energy Services and a former gubernatorial aspirant. He made reference to some of the projects. He says that President Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda has delivered targeted infrastructure across the north, such as the Abuja-Kaduna-Zaria-Kano Expressway, to enhance connectivity from Abuja into the north, which includes airport linkage in Kano, major rural and agricultural road projects, and he has flagged off across northern states. So basically sort of debunking the statement by Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso. So let's get your thoughts. Are you of the opinion that it's just about the marginalization in terms of appointment, but what about when it comes to allocation of resources for development?
Let me say first that in the opening phase of this conversation, from your studio there, you noted and observed the fact that there is a provision of a constitution that is fundamentally important and directs the policy of government. It's constitutional. The call against the appointing protocols of Mr. President being skewed against several sections of the country is valid. And if we agree that he must do something to right that wrong, then that's settled. We'll move to the second phase, which is important, like you noted, development of structural development across the country. And I want to say very clearly that so many of these policy pronunciations are more on paper than in practice. Have you seen how much of the coastal highway from Lagos to Calabar have you heard about lately? After that Farasi, after that
30 kilometers
of the outside, commissioning less than 3% or 4% of a road, and reducing Nigeria to some kind of joke across the world, where you have a 750-kilometer road and you're commissioning less than 30% of it, 30 kilometers of that road. What have you seen about the coastal way or the highway from Sokoto to Badagry? What have you seen? where are the projects that they are all on paper? I think that what we must do is to say to this presidency and to those who speak for Mr. President, if I were one of the spokespersons, I would say to Mr. President, make our job easier.
Okay.
Be true to what you say on paper.
No,
Be true to the pronouncements of government. Live true to your policy enunciations. Where are the projects? Where are the liberalized or democratized or nationalized infrastructure? Where are they? Can you see them? I listened to the first phase of your conversation, and someone was talking about the roads in Lagos, the former federal capital territory.
Permit me to interrupt you, Prof, just before we let you go. I would really like to take your thoughts on this. There's been criticism of his appointments from different groups, Huriwa, Human Rights Writers Association, and even the Pan-Yoruba sociocultural group, Afenifere, has publicly criticized the Tinubu administration for what they described as concentration of federal appointments among Yoruba individuals. And also, Arewa Consultative Forum similarly cautioned against Yorubanization or Lagosization of appointments, pointing out the underrepresentation of North and South, East and South in strategic sectors like finance and ICT. Having said this, we do operate on the Constitution. Are there not constitutional guardrails? And what's the National Assembly's oversight functions if they cannot correct this? He's doing this because he basically can get away with it. Others have also argued that President Buhari also did a similar thing. So how can we legally stop this lopsided appointment?
Wenga, you have noted very clearly what is expected of the National Assembly. The National Assembly is supposed to be the vehicle of check against the excesses of the executive, if you like. But very sadly and very unfortunately, rather than deal with these issues, the National Assembly has become largely a rubber stamp, the yes boy or yes man of the executive. And you saw it when he was commissioning 30-kilometer road, detour the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road, where the Senate President was singing one of the songs of jesters and sycophants. You have seen the National Assembly tell us proudly that whatever the President wants them to do, they will do. And that removes from the vision or intentions of what you call representative democracy. That removes from the fundamental guidelines of liberal democracy. And that is why some people are saying that democracy is largely failing in Africa, where those who are in office or those who should protect the interests of the people renege on this constitutional mandate and commitment. And if you ask me, how can we get the president to do right? It's about what the media does now. The media, the civil society, and well-meaning Nigerians should call out the government, because those who have a constitutional right to do so have refused to do so. The National Assembly doesn't care about defending the Constitution. Wenga, let me shock you. This is very important for our listeners. As we talk consistently, we have seen half-truths and falsehoods dominate and denominate government of ours. And what am I trying to say? Every so often you hear this government tell you about how more monies have been made since they removed subsidy. And this government has apparently become the borrower in chief. This government has borrowed more money than almost all government put together since 1999. So you ask yourself, who's deceiving who? This government has jesters and sycophants, court jesters everywhere, and nobody tells Mr. President the truth. And as you and I talk, like you noted, Afenifere has said to Mr. President, stop Yorubanizing Nigeria. But I want to be fair to the Southwest and to the Yoruba people. The appointments queued in favor of the Southwest has been to Tinubu's yes boys and yes men. It's been largely about Lagos You know, we must be fair to the Southwest. And those who truly care about our country from the Southwest have called out Mr. President on this.
All right.
You know, if the National Assembly fails to do what it must do, it takes me back to what Abraham Lincoln, that president of America in the 18th century, affectionately called B.B. Lincoln, who said that it comes to a point where if you're challenged as to who can make leadership responsible and responsible the best, that he would rather work with the media than the Congress, because the media will always call him out. What is necessary now, and that's why I salute what you're doing this morning, and I salute several other outfits and outlets that are beginning to consistently call Mr. President out on his consistent infraction against the provision of Chapter 2 of the Constitution.
All right, Professor,
We cannot hold our hands. We must collectively work together to ensure that leadership is responsible and responsive to the people.
All right, thank you very much, Professor Nwokobia, for joining us this morning.
Thank you,
It's been a great conversation, and we look forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you, and God bless Nigeria.
God bless Nigeria. We'll go on a break, and when we come back, we have another conversation. But let's quickly share with you a recap of the conversations we've had this morning, as well as what's coming up next. This morning on Breakfast Central, alleged marginalization claims hit Tinubu's administration. We had Professor Chris Mustafa Nwokobia Jr. join us for that. Nigeria receives construction equipment worth 3.6 billion naira from Japan. Civil society groups call for boycott of Rivers State local government election scheduled to hold on the 30th of August this month. Let's now share with you what's coming up next.
Welcome back to Breakfast Central. The presidency has defended its decision to demolish and rebuild Terminal 1 of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport. I need to correct that, not demolish, refurbish Terminal 1 of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos, a project pegged at 712.3 billion naira, or roughly $500 million. And to justify it, they've compared it to the $19 billion overhaul of the JFK Airport in New York.
Now let's lay out the numbers. JFK's $19 billion redevelopment includes 4 major terminals, over 15,000 jobs, and is the largest public-private partnership in U.S. airport history. MMIA's rebuild, 1 terminal, $500 million, and a promise to handle 20 million passengers annually.
Well, the MMIA terminal was built in the 1970s to handle just 200,000 passengers. Today, it's bustling, as it seems, with over 3 million users. So, yes, an upgrade is overdue, but is this the best way to do it? Is a comparison between the MMIA Airport Terminal and JFK Airport fair? Is Nigeria getting value for money? And what does it say about our infrastructure priorities? We do have an aviation expert, one who lives, breathes, and talks aviation through and through. Mr. Olumide Onayo joins us this morning. Thank you so much for being here this morning. I do understand that the rain did not, in one way or the other, catch up with you, but thanks for being here, by the way. Can you hear us?
I think here, yes.
All right, we hope that the connectivity will actually allow us breathe today. Once it rains, it starts to become a major challenge, especially connecting. So maybe this is a call to the telcos to look into this. But then again, Binga, during the wake-up conversation, we looked at this and we said we're going to touch on this as a major conversation before our aviation experts joins us to analyze this. Looking at the funds, the monies that are put together, 712.3 billion naira that's been put together for the renovation of the MMIA has called to question what the priorities again are, especially for Nigeria's
I think we have the Secretary General of
he joins us. All right. Good morning to you.
I can hear you.
Good. Very good. So
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We can hear you. Hopefully, we'll try and manage the network as long as we can get your thoughts on this. You did hear about the amount, 712.3 billion naira. Are you excited, seeing that you're an aviation expert, and most importantly, I'm sure you may have called for the renovation of the airport one way or the other. So does this excite you? Mr. Onai, are you there?
I am here, but you're breaking. You're breaking, so maybe.
Okay.
Take that question again.
Yeah, I'm asking if you're excited about the news. Are you excited about the news of the 712.3 billion naira to be used for the renovation of the MMIA?
Yes, please. Yes, please. Thank you. Good morning once again. Good morning, Nigerians and all listeners of News Central TV. Well, I can tell you the industry is excited. It's long overdue. The time that airport itself is supposed to be flagship of aviation in Nigeria. It's a big shame to us when we look at that airport and look at what our contemporaries have been able to achieve. I've noticed the media has been awash with the conversion of that 500 million to naira. But then there's a bigger benefits to the aviation industry and to the economy in particular. There's no way you can develop your aviation, develop your airlines without having an airport that's modernized, standardized, and able. Our airports are.
It seems today's network connectivity is not going to let us be, but from what we deduce,
an airport that can transit passengers through the airport.
Well, like I said, the network is not friendly this morning, but Mr. Onai is saying that as far as it's concerned, it's a good story because it's about time.
Yes, it's about time. I mean, and I don't think critics of this are saying, oh, the airport is not due for renovation.
I think it's the money that's allocated and then what the output.
Also the process, procurement, transparency questions,
yes.
And also the fact that it was renovated under the Buhari administration for about 100 billion less than 10 years ago. So what has happened? And the scope, the project scope, questions around transparency.
And then look at the comparison that they did. They said 712.3 billion naira, and then 19, which is about the same thing with the $19 billion development that they did of the JFK, and they said that had 4 major terminals, 15,000 jobs, whereas this one is 1 terminal, right? Yes. $500 million. So,
and then it's apples and oranges. You shouldn't compare. What I would like to compare is closer to us here in Kotoka International Airport in Ghana, and I'm sure you've passed through there before. It was built for just under $300 million, 270 million. So the question is, are we getting value for money? But I believe we have distinguished guest back with us, Mr. Olumide Onayo, who happens to be the Secretary General of the Aviation Roundtable, if I'm not mistaken. You're welcome back, so I'll just let you complete your thoughts.
Yes, essentially, we are getting value for money. I've noticed that the emphasis is on the terminals alone. But that project goes beyond the terminal. They are looking at expanding the new terminal. You know that one, we collected loans from the Chinese government for that new second terminal. Yes. That has not been, that they're not able to use capacity due to some errors in design and location. They are going to demolish 2 hangars there, and you know for those hangars they're costing multi-millions of naira, and they have to be compensated before they can for the hangars they're going to demolish. They're going to ask some of those customers at those airports to move, and also to compensate them. So all this must be added to it. They are also going to work on not on the terminal alone, but the road leading towards the airport. It's an environment. They're going to build a linkage between the car park and the terminal and the new terminal, and another linkage from the new terminal to the renovated MMIA. So all that were not in the plan before, all are the things they're introducing now to make that airport top notch. And I think we should just I know we are in a time when we hardly trust our government when elections are coming up, and we hardly trust our government. But for this time, for us in the industry, I think the airport is long overdue, and we should allow this renovation to come to pass. And I'm happy they've told us 22 months. I just hope it will come to pass. But my issue now is, if you act to pay on the second terminal that we got loan from, how are they going to handle that? Again, what is the level of compensation to be given to those hangars that and equipped that they now have to move to make that the airport big enough to handle bigger aircrafts. And you also have to move some of those customers. Are you going to compensate them? And when you finish innovation, are you going to allow those people that were there before, or you already have new candidates you are bringing in? These are some of the issues I need them to address. So I've got some fairness in it. But for me, it's a good initiative. There's a need to have a transit airport in Nigeria. We don't have that now, and we cannot develop our aviation industry, develop our international travel without having that transit airport. If Togo Lome here have it, the Ethiopians have it. You mentioned some of these countries, they don't come here, and they are taking, and most of these passengers flying all these airlines and Nigerians. Why are we giving our foot to foreign airlines when all we need is develop our airport, and you see the investors and the airlines rolling in to invest in Nigeria?
Okay, let's talk about what a realistic timeline will be for this project. Would you say that 22 months is a realistic timeline? And what structures, accountability structures, need to be put in place to ensure that the timeline is being adhered to and that there is no mismanagement of funds?
I am sure because of the coming elections, the government will work assiduously for that project to be delivered before that election. And that's why you can see that they push for the 22 months, and they will definitely be on their neck. But you see, in those 22 months, what is paramount to me is how do we manage our flights? I don't want us to get into the situation we did some innovations at the Port Harcourt airport some time ago, and that airport was then labeled the worst international airport in the world. So I would not want that tag to return to come back to us again to the Lagos airport during this renovation. How are we going to manage those airlines? How are we going to manage the passengers? These are the things that must be put in place and ensure that where we have that's a free movement of passengers, baggage, and the airlines. So we must be able to manage this the airport operations during.
Okay. Well, talking of managing airport operations, that's a very, very big angle to look into because, one, there will be disruption of processes in terms of flights, and a lot of persons would have to either board at a different or separate airport while that is being worked on.
Will they troubleshoot that and make provisions so that because people still need to travel regardless out of Lagos.
You can't stop making money.
So it will be seamless. It will be a seamless process. And we know the way things are in Nigeria. But Mr. Owayo is back. So I'll just like to take you up on passenger capacity versus regional demand. As it is currently, we're looking at 5 million, the terminal, the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, as it is built to handle 3 to 5 million passengers annually. And they are saying that the new terminal will be built to handle 20 million passengers annually. Is this projection realistic in the short to medium term? Could it be an overbuild, or are we future-proofing?
Well, let us use the word future-proofing because we have not done well with bilateral services. We have not done well with interconnectivity within the African region, and also we don't have any airline now that will say we are competing at the same level with the foreign carriers. What we are just doing, we are doing a catch-up game. The 20 million passengers is easily we can easily get that. We can easily get that if we improve or if we continue with this project, able to attract more airlines, able to attract more investors, keep the economy going, improve security because the aviation does not work in isolation. It works with the citizens, with the economy, and the ability to have that disposable income to travel. So once we can continue to develop our economy, ensure the democratic process is free and fair, and able to attract visitors to Nigeria, definitely the 20 million is achievable. It might even come faster than
Sadly, we are having serious connection issues this morning, but engineers are working tirelessly to resolve the situation. But so many questions to be asked, and we need to get to Joe's favorite part of the discussion, infrastructure priorities and perspective. Yes. Okay, Mr. Ohio is back, so we'll let you complete your thoughts, sir.
Yeah, like I said during that break, I think that the 20 million passengers that is possible. It's something that can be achieved in a very short while. All we need is also improve the economy. Aviation industry by having strong airlines, strong regulations that can not having regulations but monitoring it to ensure that investors are comfortable and there's a need to improve on the public-private partnership. We cannot, the government cannot do it alone, and I expect that if we do that, if we're able to build this transit airport, if Lome can have it, if Ghana has it, why can't we have the transit here? If you have the transit airport, then you'll be able to build a stronger airline with a strong hub, and which is the dream of the industry, and that's only we can get to that capacity that you're talking about. Because once you have stronger airlines, you have more airlines operating into Nigeria, we have more passengers are willing to fly and able to fly, then the 20 million can be achieved.
All right, while it looks like a victory for the aviation industry and sector, it doesn't pretty much look like a victory for a cross-section of Nigerians. Reason being that everyone is hinging this decision made by the federal government on one word, which is priorities. I know you are a strong, I'd say follower in terms of what the government is doing in line with the aviation sector. And you would agree with this, that it's about time it has to get that reshaping that it needed. But do you agree that the timing seems a bit off due to the fact that we do have some institutions struggling to provide services for Nigerians, like the medical sector, we do have the educational sector and the likes? And I agree with you if you say there's no better time to do it, but what's your take on priorities, doing it now at this point where the economy is indeed not stable?
Make no mistake that it's not everything that the government have done in everything that we agree to. Now, if you look at the second runway that was being projected at the Abuja airport, we're going for about somewhere something million. I'm not saying no, there's no need, not about 70 billion, that there's no need for a second runway. The single runway in Abuja airport is enough to continue with that capacity that's operating in Abuja. All we need is get critical equipment that can be used to evacuate the runway when there's an accident or serious incident. And that's what you need. They're not putting the second runway, that's not a priority. But you see, for the flagship, the MM.
Well, unfortunately, I think we might have to call it a day on this interview due to the poor network connectivity. We really hope that we can spend some time to digest and, most importantly, dissect the situation of the refurbishing of Nigeria's airport facilities, particularly the MMIA. But then again, we'll look at doing more on that. But let's move away from that story, Olive.
Right.
Let's look at one that's gotten everyone talking as well.
Absolutely. But thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Odunayo. We look forward to having a better conversation with you again as we follow up with the updates regarding this project. But now let's move on to Niger State, where Governor of Niger State, Mohammed Umaru Bago, has come under fire after ordering the shutdown of Badegi Radio FM during an APC caucus meeting, accusing the privately owned station of inciting violence. The move has drawn sharp criticism from major professional bodies, including the Nigerian Guild of Editors, NGE, the Nigerian Bar Association, and the Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, all describing the governor's actions as unconstitutional and a threat to press freedom. The NGE, in the statement signed by President Eze Anaba and Secretary Onoha Oke, condemned the action as a dangerous precedent, stating that only the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission, NBC, has the legal authority to revoke broadcast licenses, and the NBA MENA branch echoed this, warning the state government against bypassing legal channels and urging due process through the courts or the NBC.
The Federal Ministry of Information also weighed in, with Minister Mohammed Idris emphasizing that suspension of broadcast licenses falls under NBC's jurisdiction. Meanwhile, the NUJ urged restraint and called for respect for constitutional and regulatory processes.
Governor Bago's directive also included sealing the premises, revoking the station's license, profiling its owner based on the governor's claim that the daily activities of the radio station have been unethical. Governor Baggo also accused the owner of the station of incitement of the people against government and asked that its license be withdrawn, most widely condemned as authoritarian.
Well, joining us to discuss this, we have National Secretary of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, Mr. Achike Chude. And not forgetting too, we also have the Executive Director of the Center for Journalism, Innovation and Development, CJID, Mr. Akintunde Babatunde. Welcome and thank you, gentlemen, for being here. But let's just delve into the story before we bring our next guest in. We've seen this especially play out all through the weekend. It's not palatable, especially for journalists, especially for the press. And there are in quotes mentions that this is a gag, or better still, this is suppressing the press and making sure that there's nothing like press freedom. Let me start with you. What's your take on the actions? We do understand that it is unconstitutional, but what do you see this? Where do you see this leading to, especially with what happened over the weekend to the radio station?
That's for me.
Yes.
Yes, that's for you. You can go ahead.
Thank you very much for having me. And I think that as an organization, the CGID, we had a voice to condemning that act. But beyond that, I think the fact that a state governor, or let me even say a political office holder, who's on the mandate of the people, was sworn by the Constitution to defend democracy, the fact that such person could even think that when there are reporting that's not good for them, that the only reaction to them is to declare, start profiling the owner of a media organization, then make a promise to withdraw the license, which they don't even have the power to in the first place, and also sealing off the premises. The fact that that's even the reaction, it's a very terrible situation that we all have to condemn. And when you think about it, that's also a reflection of a reaction of an average Nigerian governor to critics, right? So imagine that this has been done to a journalist, to a newsroom. Imagine what has been done, several other private citizens who are probably asking questions about governance framework, probably, exposing corruption. So think of it as a pattern, because it cannot just be a one-off, events. If you look at, from Niger State, for instance, last year there have been 2, 3, 4 instances where the appointees of the state government assault journalists. You've seen instances where the correspondent was invited by the DSS, on behalf of a political office holder. So you see a pattern. It's not just a one-off situation. You see a pattern and an unfortunate, assumption that when there are reporting that speaks against government, when there are critical reporting that hold government to account, the only response is to then try and stop that, through terrible and unfortunate declarations like these. And that's then creating an atmosphere. It's a statement, actually, to other journalists to say, if you do any critical reporting against the governor, this is what's going to be your fate also. So it's not just, even about this single radio station, it's also about the environment that this is going to create. This is going to create an environment of fear, an environment of censorship, an environment where an average journalist would feel like, well, I can't be in the bad book of a governor, or I don't want to lose my business, so I gotta just keep quiet. So it's all shade of wrong, and this even is also very interesting because at the CGID we just released an openness index that looks at state of press freedom and freedom of expression in Nigeria last Thursday. And Niger State, ranks just, around national average at about 50%. And that's terrible to see that, just in a few days after that, a state governor, elected governor, democratically elected governor, is making a statement to declare, a station unfit to work and also selling that premises, that's an affront on democracy and something that everybody needs to condemn.
Okay, but how can this, be, is there any way to right this wrong? If the governor, who's supposed to be the executive leader of the state, decides to wade into the fourth estate of the realm and, decides to shut down this radio station because they have stood as a voice, criticizing, what ways can this wrong be corrected? Is there any way it can be made right?
And I think the first response is the general condemnation that you've seen across board, the solidarity and all. But beyond that, I think that the Nigerian media needs to have a name and shame book. The International Press Institute have actually promised that if this decision, the governor didn't stop this decision, it would drag the governor into a book of shame. I think generally shaming actors against media freedom, shaming, attackers against journalists, attackers against free press, attackers against, democratic space should be a major talking point at every point in our national life. Because while this is happening to a radio station, this is going to happen to a social media user. This is going to happen to a journalist. This is going to happen to everybody, if care is not taken. So we need to develop a national unacceptability index, a national, rejection of this norm. No government official, no political office holder, no powerful person in Nigeria should, infringe against the power to hold power to account. You cannot, as anyone, declare war on journalism. You cannot, as an individual, whether elected or not elected, declare war on citizens asking questions about good governance. So we need to develop that national, content against actors that makes it difficult for democratic practice to function, more like journalism, activism and all of those things. So everybody, whether you are a journalist or not a journalist, you must declare, a war on these actors. We have to name them and shame them, and we have to all condemn the action and remind them that freedom of the press is the DNA and the central, requirement for a democratic state to function. And if that is being infringed upon by political office holders, then we need to condemn it, and at every point we need to stop it. I would also say that journalists need to rally around in solidarity. I've seen a few reports by journalists even echoing sentiment against, when you see a statement, against the radio station, against independent media, they also use the vehicle of the media to propagate those. I think the media industry should, critically stop doing this practice. If a radio station is being attacked, if a media organization is being attacked, we should not be giving voice to voice. You should not be giving platform to voices express freedom. We all have to act in solidarity, because an injury to one ear is an injury to all. And it's just, a radio station today in Niger State, there's been far many people who have been imprisoned. There have been far many people who have been killed. There have been far many people, far many media institutions, that's been attacked. So this is something that we all need to condemn in totality.
Now, Mr. Babatunde, what are the implications for journalism and press freedoms if something isn't done about this situation and things are left to go the way they are?
Right. First, we have to also remember that what happens in local governments and in state governments in the country almost at all times are not known to the general public, because everybody is focused, on Abuja. What is that in Abuja? And so we have actions like these where a state governor thinks that they can shut down a radio station or they can withdraw their license. Let's just imagine that the governor do have the power to shut down a radio station. Then I think almost all the media organizations in Niger State would have been off by now, So what it then means is that when the governor is signing contracts for government projects, public projects, then there will be no voice to scrutinize the contract because they will be scared of being shut down. What it then means is that the governor or any of the political office holders would be unable, nobody would be able to question them because they would be operating without a watchdog just because they have decimated the power of the media to hold them to account. So this is not necessary. This is not just about one radio station. This is about, if this continues, then we run a risk of having a situation where political office holders will not be held to account. A situation where citizens will be scared to ask questions. And if you elect someone to be your leader, through your vote in a democratic, society, and you are unable to ask questions, or when you ask questions, or when you ask questions, then you are not sure of living to see the light of the day, whether you would have been kidnapped or arrested or whatever, or even slapped by a lawsuit, then there is an atmosphere of risk, there's of censorship, there's an atmosphere of fear. And when that becomes a defining feature of a democratic state, then it's worrisome. It's worrisome. So I do think that every citizen desirous of freedom of expression, that have enjoyed freedom of expression and wants to keep enjoying it, and this situation, and use it as an opportunity to remind state governors, to remind local leaders, to remind federal government that we are a society, a democratic society, and the media is the institution that is empowered by the Constitution to hold government to account, to hold power to account, and to also make information that allows citizens to make informed decisions about their choices really available. And when that constitutional function is being impacted by ridiculous statements and pronouncements like what we have from Niger State, or arbitrary arrests of journalists that we have across Nigerian subnational governments, then it means the states are not open. It means the Nigerian state is closed, and that's the spirit of CGI's openness index that says if states don't allow a free environment for media freedom to thrive, and journalists are not free to do their job, and citizens are not free to tweet and ask questions about government contracts, then you lose the capacity to hold your government to account, and that means you probably may not get the democracy, and they remain emperors, and that's not a good state to be in.
Not a good state to be in, you said, because the media, no doubt, continues to keep every decision-making, or better still, the government in check. But let's talk about the journalists now, the journalists involved. You did mention that you also saw some articles that seemed to have supported what the governor had done in showing his power in ensuring that the radio station's license, the radio station's license was retracted and so on and so forth. But what do you think journalists can do at the moment? I can't recall, my memory, if it serves me right, I can't recall the exact newspaper, but it was a newspaper of 2 weeks ago, which highlighted that the current administration has done all it can to gag the media and the press and has arrested more journalists than the previous one. So where do you think journalism is leading to? Do you think we are at danger? Do you think there's a lot to be done? Should we call for gathering?
Absolutely, and I hinted earlier, that over the years we've always looked at state of media freedom at the national level. So we are looking at what's happening in Abuja, or maybe what's happening in Lagos. We haven't really paid attention to what is happening, in state government.
All right, Mr. Ababatu, hold that thought. We need to go on a very quick break. When we come back, we'll have you expand further on that. Please stay with us. Welcome back to Breakfast Central. We're still looking at the shutting down of a radio station in Niger State by the governor, an action that many have referred to as an abuse of power. We're joined this morning as well by the National Secretary of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Mr. Achike Chude. And we've been speaking earlier with the Executive Director of the Center for Journalism, Innovation and Development, Akintunde Babatunde. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us on the show this morning.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
All right. I know we're speaking with you, Akintunde Babatunde, but now we have Achike Chude. Let's bring him in on the conversation and let's get your thoughts to the shutting down, an action that has been criticized by many, including our guests this morning. When you heard of the news, what was your immediate reaction, and how does the Nigerian Union of Journalists respond to this, Mr. Achike Chude?
Yeah, well, obviously it is. We've already established the fact that it's arbitrary, it's unlawful, it's unconstitutional, it's illegal. It's an illegitimate action taken taken by the governor of Niger State, and that surely cannot stand. So we are hoping that the flurry of criticism that have trailed this illegal action will be enough to make the governor change his ways. But if not, obviously, we will be ready to resist. We have already put our council in Niger State on notice. We decide on what to do, but there's a window of opportunity for the governor to resign this action. But what we are seeing really is we were asking whether the reaction. The reaction was a little bit of a surprise, but then not too much of a surprise, because earlier I think either you or your colleague there had also established the fact, I think, citing a report that more journalists have been arrested by this administration, by perhaps other administrations in the past. And so it's not exactly this administration, if you look at it, because what we are seeing today is what I would call a decentralization of oppression or oppressive tactics, or the regulation of oppressive tactics and impunity across the country. So in those days, when you had issues that had to do with journalists, some years back, it was always an issue either with the central authorities, the coercive arm of the central authority, in this case, either the DSS acting on behalf, of the government, the central government, or the police also acting on behalf of the central government. But you now see that governors have now come into the action, and that's why there's an increase in the spate of arrests of journalists in the country today. And so obviously what it tells you is that the civic space is being closed on a daily basis in this country, and that there's a rise in arbitrariness. And this is, under a democratic dispensation. And some of us have always made the argument that the presence of a democracy does not indicate the absence of a dictatorship, because you could have, very virulent dictatorship happening under a democratic dispensation. We have seen that across the African landscape. Mobutu Sese Seko of Zaire, the man in the former president of the Central African Republic. You have what is going on in Cameroon and all that. These were civilian and are civilian dispensations. But yet the level of arbitrariness sometimes are even more than you had under a purely military dictatorship. So what it means is, of course, the governor. So obviously the governor, having seen what has been happening across the states in this country, has become emboldened that he can also do whatever he wants and get away with it. But it's very, very clear. The laws are clear. Only the Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation, the NBC, is the institution of state that is saddled with licensing of media houses, the regulation of media houses, and possible sanctions of media houses. It has nothing to do with the governor. So the impression that one has is that the governor obviously does not understand his job, his responsibility with regards to the media. But the governor is supposed to also have people, media aides. You should have a commissioner of information who should adequately inform him. And they should also have a chief press secretary in the state who should also inform him if he doesn't get that information from the commissioner of information. And in most cases, you find out that some of these people, either the chief press secretary to the governor or commissioner of information, have something to do with journalism. Some of them have been media practitioners. In most instances, if you go across the country, you see that, you just don't appoint anybody as a chief press secretary or commissioner of information if it does not really have anything to do with journalism or the practice of journalism. So if that is the case, Niger State. It is worrying that could be happening under the dispensation.
Mr. Chude, I mean, because of want of time, you've said that maybe the appointments of the SAs, especially on media, should have been able to tell the governor. But isn't it worrisome that even the federal government have put out a statement telling him that, I mean, the decision he took was unconstitutional.
Yeah, you can't do this.
And he can't do that. And then the federal government, by way of also analyzing the situation, have said that he should follow the constitution and that they expect that both parties, which is the radio station and the governor, should be able to meet and find a way to solve the situation. But yet, the governor has not said a word. What does this show, especially when it comes to the media, that an action had been taken, corrections were expected to be made, a lot of bodies have criticized the decision, but yet the governor has not said anything? What does this mean for the situation, especially for journalists as well?
Well, sometimes ego and pride, come in. When they find themselves in this situation and they're being called out by almost everybody, it becomes a bit of a problem for them to walk back the action that they have undertaken. Now, the issue is this: it's not even about the government and then this radio station working out their differences. Sometimes they bring in intermediaries. The radio station, concerned in Niger State, must be an affiliate, I want to believe, of the Nigerian Union of Journalists. Once it is a media organization, there are people you can go to, there are bodies that you can go to. There is the NUJ State Council in Niger State. If they have defaulted, then you could also make a report to the State Council. If the State Council cannot handle it, they can report the matter to the National Secretariat, and then the National Secretariat should be able to handle the issue. And then again, they can also report to a government institution, in this case, the NBC, that has a supervisory role, over media houses in the country. Obviously, these things were not done. And so we expect that the governor would swallow the humble pie and then look for a way to save a bit of pride and do what is needful. And that is to resign the decision that it has taken. It's shameful. And the people who are responsible for media in the state, if they did not do their job, again, sometimes psychophancy has a way of preventing people from telling their principals the truth. I hope that is not what happened. But if they did not do their due diligence, their job in terms of giving the president proper advice, the governor proper advice, then that is unfortunate, really. And then you begin to question their ability and their credentials.
I can imagine how that will go. Lowly essay confronting the former governor and saying, Mr. Governor, what you did was wrong. We know how that will end. It will take a very brave essay that is ready to go back to the labor market and look for another job.
Anyway, let's just get Babatude's last thoughts because we're out of time. Just very quickly, in 1 second. I said 1 second. In 30 seconds.
But I think I'll align my thoughts with the MB's General Secretary. I think that what is happening is a culture of embodiment that has happened, where state governors now assume that they can clamp down on the news on news media anytime they like. But I'm also very happy that there's a general condemnation across the board. So I think we should keep the momentum going. I think we should continue to remind political office holders that the media is an institution that's to hold government to account. And when there are infractions, or there are errors or whatever, the right way would be to deal with it democratically, not by clamping against independent media. I think my last thought is that we should all continue to condemn these acts and then call for a society that respects freedom of expression and that holds it through to the end.
All right, gentlemen, thank you for joining us this morning on Breakfast Central. We look forward to speaking with you again, and hopefully this time with pleasant news to hear that the governor has taken 2 steps back on his action. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for staying with us on Breakfast Headlines. Let's begin with weather reports, where the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, forecast widespread thunderstorms and rains across Nigeria from Monday to Wednesday. Northern states like Adamawa, Taraba and Sokoto will experience morning and evening thunderstorms with flood risks in Adamawa, Taraba and Bauchi central areas, including Benue, FCT and Niger State. Expect light rains intermittently. The southern region will be cloudy with occasional light rains across states such as Lagos, Rivers and Akwa Ibom, with large threats in Oyo, Ogun, Edo, Delta, Anambra, Bayelsa and Cross River. Residents are urged to avoid travel during heavy rainfall and for flood-prone states to activate emergency responses immediately to reduce risks and damage. All away from that, let's tell you that human rights lawyer and senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, has urged President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to take direct responsibility for tackling Nigeria's widespread poverty, rather than shifting the task to state governors. He referenced Tinubu's comments to APC governors about rising public discontent and argued that the federal government should prioritize funding and implementing effective social welfare programs. Falana highlighted the need for all 36 states to adopt the National Social Investment Program Agency Act. The federal government may revoke the licenses of Nigeria's 11 electricity distribution companies if they fail to inject new capital within 12 months, as proposed in the Electricity Act Amendment Bill 2025. The bill, now in advanced stages at the National Assembly, is a response to over a decade of poor performance since the 2013 privatization of the power sector. Despite receiving government bailouts and tariff increases, the DISCOs have failed to upgrade infrastructure, improve service delivery, or reduce a mounting sector debt of over 4 trillion naira. The bill gives the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission the power to enforce strict recapitalization or initiate a reprivatization process. Critics, however, warn the move could undermine the decentralized electricity framework introduced by the 2023 Electricity Act. Well, earlier we're joined by development economist and an investment banker, Dr. Nameka Obiariri, who shared his thoughts.
What happened in 2013 was an aberration. Assets valued at over 3.2 trillion naira were sold to crony capitalists and friends of the government of the day for about $402 billion. Remember that the PSCN was broken into 18 sister companies, 6 Gencos, 1 Transisco, and 11 distribution companies. Basically, most of the people that bought those assets, as at that time, lacked the requisite competencies in terms of financial and technical capacities to manage those assets. Basically, what happened was that the government of the day handed over a 3.2 trillion naira valued assets to some crony and friends of government, and most of them actually purchased those assets through 100% leverage financing. It was a Ponzi act that derailed that sector.
The Center for Journalism, Innovation and Development, CJID, has condemned Niger State Governor Mohammed Umar Bago for ordering the closure of Badegi FM radio and revoking its broadcasting license. In a statement issued and signed by CJID's Deputy Director of Journalism Program, Busola Jibola, on Sunday, the center expressed deep concern over what it called an act of executive overreach and an outright abuse of state powers. CJID criticized the governor's actions as an abuse of power and a violation of press freedom, highlighting that only the National Broadcasting Commission has a legal authority to revoke broadcast licenses. The center linked this move to ongoing intimidation of journalists in Niger State, noting past incidents such as assaults and detentions under Bago's administration. The group thereby calls on the Commissioner of Police and the Department of State Services in Niger State to reject illegal orders and seize the harassment of journalists. In East Africa, Malawi's main opposition party, the Democratic Progressives Party, DPP, has launched its election manifesto ahead of the country's general elections in September. The DPP is pledging to revive the economy, tackle food insecurity, and introduce free primary and secondary education if it returns to power. The DPP, led by 85-year-old Peter Mutharika, is aiming for a second and final 5-year term after losing the 2020 presidential election amid allegations of corruption, nepotism, and financial mismanagement.
The manifesto has been produced at a time that the country is in a mess. It's a mess economically. Everything is in reversal. The economy is not growing. Inflation is very high. Interest rates are very high. Debt levels, we are in trillions, 18 trillion plus. We are talking about, there's no money that can be used to develop this country.
God, if Malawi is not careful, one day, evil will rule this country and Malawi will be held hostage.
Listeners, Malawians and the general practitioners would wish to see how the DPP is going to distinguish themselves from other administrations in as far as strengthening the battle against corruption.
That's all we have for you here on Breakfast Headlines on News Central. We've got one more hour to go on Breakfast Central, so do us a favor, stay with us. The front pages will be up next. Stay here.
The Nigerian government, currently drowning in debt, inflation and mass poverty, has decided to spend 712 billion naira, which is about $500 million, to renovate a single airport terminal, not to build a new one, not to expand aviation to underserved places like Calabar or Minna, just to renovate Terminal 1 of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport. Yes, it's old. Built in 1979, but didn't we already spend 106 billion naira rehabilitating it under the Buhari administration? So what happened? Did it crumble under a decade? Now they claim it's structurally weak and must be stripped to its carcass. Stripped or looted? They justify it by pointing to JFK's $19 billion upgrade in New York. Newsflash, we're not New York. We don't have 24-hour power. Hospitals are falling apart. Doctors are threatening to strike. Nurses already have. This isn't infrastructure, it's dysfunction at scale. And the real punchline, Ghana, just right next door, built a brand new ultra-modern terminal at Kotoka International Airport for $250 million. That's half of what Nigeria is spending just to renovate. Let me repeat, Ghana got a new terminal, 6 air bridges, 5 million passenger capacity, top-class amenities, for half of the price of our renovation. So what exactly are we renovating? The terminal or corruption itself? Who got the contract? CCECC. Again, no open bidding, no detailed project plan, just an announcement. This isn't development, it's design and looting with duty-free perfume. Opposition parties are shouting, civil society is fuming, and the National Assembly likely still humming, Bola on your mandate, we shall stand, while our future is mortgaged. Let's be clear, this isn't about passengers or progress. It's a vanity project for the elite, a golden toilet for public funds. We're not against infrastructure, we're against daylight robbery dressed as development. 712 billion naira to renovate, that's not renovation, it's a renovation of rot. Because if this flies, it's not just planes taking off. It's our priorities, our common sense, and our future. Good morning, Nigerians.
Wow. We're right back. Anyway, welcome to the front pages of the papers. We do have with us international journalist of repute and, of course, one who bears his mind regardless of what happens on the front pages. We're talking about
party affiliations a brave man.
Yes. I mean, Benga, thanks for that. Which way Nigeria?
Yeah.
We're asking which way Nigeria. Yes. We do have our man with us, Mr. Habib Aruna. I'm shocked you've not gotten any. I was expecting that by now there'll be Dr.
No.
PCNFP.
I don't believe in those things.
No, I like what the Ghanaians do. If you have...
I have a chief Alhaji.
Oh, great.
Alhaji. In Nigeria today, the best thing to have
Mr.
fix to your name is Mr.
Yes, and I like what the Ghanaians are doing. If you have honoris causa, you can't be addressed as a doctor.
No, you cannot.
But we've seen a bastardization in Nigeria.
Everybody here is doctor. Once you go and get doctor, you get your doctor.
Benin Republic.
You know, Upper one university, a certain sum.
Yes.
They will give you, and then you now add doctor.
That's what they do.
I have to do that, so I'll be barrister, doctor. Olive, Emodi.
That's it. That's what it is.
Honestly,
it is what it is.
All these honorary doctors, they will not keep. We will not stop giving you people subs. You must collect your subs.
When all the medical doctors have Japa, is honorary doctors. Honorary doctors and as a wines.
Okay, let's get into the papers this
Daily
morning.
Trust. Let's start with Daily Trust, please.
All right.
Let's have that on the front page. The Daily Trust. Daily Trust.
Because we trust you every day.
Rumpus. I love that word. Rumpus.
Ah, wow. Sweets.
Rumpus.
This is
just
a new word.
in line with what Benga just
Apart
said.
from an anomaly, it's a rumpus.
It's a rumpus. Rumpus over 712 billion naira Lagos Airport renovation contract. Take a look at this. Amount outrageous. Experts say ADC demands suspension. Federal government defense project says funding from subsidy savings. So, hey, there's a lot to ask here, but let's go straight into it. I don't want us to waste time on papers today. Let's have enough time with your analysis. Let's go straight. What's your take on this?
On this rumpus?
First of all, let me appreciate the articulation, the presentation, and what
Benga
just read. You know, it was succinct, apt, and very instructive. Captured everything.
Thank you very much. I'm honored.
You know, you now begin to wonder. What I was asking a question before the program. Are these guys? Do they have advisors? Are they thinking? Are they in line? Are they going around the country to listen to what people are saying about their welfare, about cost of living, about insecurity, about economic problem we are having, about unemployment, about youth restiveness and restlessness? Are they feeling it? You know. This man was for the Minister of Aviation was forced yesterday again to go to put something on his X.
Yes.
Justifying it. How can you justify those things? I wasn't thinking that they would tell us that way. Maybe we got a loan from somewhere. They are even using that, justifying it with the money they got from subsidy. I was thinking that the money from subsidy was people's welfare.
But they said it's development.
No, development for what? Developing the airport? I can't understand, you know.
I mean, the percentage of Nigerians that has ever been to Murtala.
Was the money appropriated? Is it the budget? Is it the current budget? What is Sunday? They wake up one day and say they want to renovate the airport. It's not complete. I can't understand it. You know, I was thinking that they've come up with enough reason. What do they have to do it? They are every 40 billion pound sterling have been marked to innovate Heathrow, one of the best in the world. So they're getting money for it. How much are they making from this airport in Nigeria? Except perhaps Abuja and Lagos. And you are spending so much money and you give it to SCCEZ or something. So I think Nigeria should just reject it. The government should listen to what people are saying. The National Assembly should wake up. You know, they should talk to themselves. They don't talk in the open. They talk to themselves behind the curtain. They come drop this thing. We are against it. I don't think it will work. I think there are many issues to be resolved. Look at our hospitals. Look at our universities, public institutions, both primary, secondary, and university. They are busted. I think these are the things that.
But Mr. Haruna, they also say
that you have not a bogus contract
that the airport looks like somewhere in Libya that has been bombed out. The toilets smell. The air conditioning is poor. Is due for renovation. People say yes that. Yeah, we need to renovate.
Besides, the airport is also like one of our branding, exactly, our image, a core part of our identity. These are the places where people who are not Nigerians will visit and they'll have something to say, and then they will now say, oh, Kemi Badenoch was right all along.
You see, I don't have a problem with us renovating our airport, which is very key. You know, because we are coming to the country, those are the first thing that you see. But it's about priority, gentlemen and ladies. It's about priority. It's about doing the right thing at the right time. Is it right now? That's what I'm asking. Is it right? Nigerians are some people are jackpot, and you are spending so much money. You're marking it. Was the money appropriated in the budget? You know, so I think we have to ask questions, you know, that because it's a misplaced, to me, opinion, it's a misplaced priority.
Well, okay. You're not the first saying
even
that.
If you listen to what Benga just read, don't like they were saying in Lagos, when the Lagos rail was being constructed, that the money we spent in constructing Lagos rail was double the one they used in Ethiopia. The one that be completed in Ethiopia.
Yes.
So where are we getting our own this thing from? Projection from? You see, as you said, I think it's another way of helping the boys. Job for the boy. It's not justifiable. To me, it's condemnable and should be rejected.
Something for the boys. Something for the boys. But then again, if you look at that story, my worry is, just one last question before Olive takes over. My worry is, we've asked a few representatives from the current administration what the subsidy money is being used for, and they tell us outrightly, one, it's used for the governors. The 36 governors have more allocation, a fact. Two, we're also told that the monies are equally used for infrastructure and development, you know. So maybe this is where the monies are going to. Does that mean that, and again, remember that the current coalition party, ADC, has asked for an understanding of how much has really been saved from the subsidy. Correct. Nobody has seen, the government has not released a statement that says, oh, in the past 2.5 years, this is how much we have saved. So now seeing 712 billion and being told that it's from subsidy, that means how much is really in the subsidy funds that you can take away 712? Nigerians, are they not asking that? Don't you think we deserve to know?
No, I was thinking that they can justify this spending by telling us that we have a surplus somewhere. You know, that is the money we are giving for a surplus. But if you are removing subsidy, people are paying more for subsidy. They are suffering, excruciating suffering by Nigerians. They are paying more for something. That you are removing that money to go and innovate the airport. You know, no, it's not efficient. You know, this money should be spent on people's welfare, on hospitals, pay salaries. Look at the nurses, doctors, teachers. Public institutions are in a mess. Nigeria do not have a world standard hospital. And you are spending that kind of money to renovate the airport. You know, that can only happen because we have very docile, inactive, and not too considerate National Assembly. If a National Assembly that is proactive, that is thinking like us, they won't try this. They won't try this. I think it should be stopped. Okay. If you are listening, it should be stopped. They cannot justify it. All right. The money for subsidy is for law, is for people's welfare, and to spend as such, not diverted into to innovate one funding bogus airport project. Rumpus. This is a rumpus. Yeah, it's a rumpus. Let's see if this rumpus extends to the next story that I share. IPI-NG other slam Niger governor over order on radio station. This was the governor in Niger State has shut down a radio station. He gave the executive order that they should be shut down because they are inciting Nigerians against the government. No, I've said it many times, and it's consistently on this program that our governors are becoming increasingly, M+ in their states. You know, Joansi said something when he asked me a question that some of the president aides said some of the money, some of the money gotten from subsidy remover was allocated to the various states. Then we know that governments are getting more allocations, every month. What are they doing with it? What are they doing with it? We're asking questions. Apart from a few media houses asking questions, some human rights activists asking questions. The state assemblies who are supposed to be holding this government accountable have been sleeping. Of state assembly, because these governments have these assemblies in their pockets. They don't ask questions. They are co-conspirators.
They've abandoned their oversight functions.
That is why they are not spending this money in the right way. That's why even the president is concerned that please go to your state. This money we are giving you, make sure it's well spent on people's welfare. They don't mean that. On roads, they are not doing it. On public schools, they are not doing it. On infrastructure, they are not doing it. So, Nigerians are asking questions.
I mean, take a look at Lagos State.
So, if you search it by extension, by extension. This government felt that they are so powerful. Woke up one day and closed down a radio station. In delusion, closed down a radio station because they are the government of the state. It's not, I can't remember it happening during the
military regime.
Yes, the federal government can do that, but not state government. Closing down a radio station. If you are offended with what they are saying,
go to court.
Or report them to NBC.
Yes.
And go to court.
Exactly.
It's a simple thing. You don't wake up and not say this, go and close it down. That funny mullah in Niger State. What does he know? When people are fighting for democracy in this country, where was he? Maybe he was somewhere in the Republic or somewhere doing nothing. And you wake up one and say they should close down the radio station. No, as expected.
But it's good that the federal government has intervened.
Even the Minister of Information.
Yes.
The Minister of Information and him, they are in a tough.
Yes, they don't see eye to eye.
They are both, they are contending political forces in that state. The Minister of Information and the governor. The minister was not looking at him. He allowed people to condemn him and issue a statement that NBC will take a decision. But not for the government.
Professionally done.
It's a constitutional, it's illegal ultraviolence for the sitting governor to wake up in a drunken manner and close down the radio station. It's wrong.
Sacrilegious.
It's terrible. Okay. There's also conversations yesterday. There were rumors, of course, of the NNPC boss, the new one, Bayo Ojulari. There are rumors about him resigning. We're seeing here the paper's report on uncertainty over Bayo Ojulari's job as NNPCL boss. And I wanted to get your thoughts. It's such a short-lived tenure.
There's no smoke
without fire.
As an insider.
Actually, I already heard he had resigned.
Yes.
As at Saturday, I heard he had resigned. And then today we're seeing this.
If you can remember, last week, this man was invited
to the Vanguard newspaper.
No, the still on the Daily Trust here.
He was invited to the National Assembly to come and give account.
210 trillion naira missing.
We all know it's not a hidden thing again that NNPC as an institution is a corrupt institution. We are looking for corruption. Don't look elsewhere. Go to NNPC. This is a place where they have spent billions of dollars to renovate our refineries and they're not working till now. And nobody's accountable. The last time I checked, the MD of NNPC is in his house drinking tea. In some countries, the man should be in jail by now.
I'm possibly watching you this morning.
Unfortunately, the man is free. You know, if you are saying that, the refineries are not working. But money was earmarked to renovate those refineries for the past 6, 7, 8 years. Where is the money? And who is supposed to explain to us? The NNPC, former NNPC MD, Kyari. Kyari is maybe in the village now, somewhere abroad, or Dubai, resting and relaxing and laughing at us. So why you not invited Ojulari, the current MD, come and explain? The man said, I just came on board. I'm still looking at the papers. Give me more time to look at the papers and come up with something. So when we now went back, I was told by sources, you now realize that there's so much rot. I cannot cope.
So he wants to resign.
Allegedly. From reports, I report that he threw in the towel.
This is very un-Nigerian. Yes.
And he was told to my friend, go back there, and then barrage the government.
And as a thoroughbred professional,
absolutely,
he's not a hungry person.
It's not too good for even the president.
It's also not good for I think, to both parties, the presidency and also his reputation.
Because it will be embarrassing to the presidency.
That is the main agency. Main
cash cow.
Absolutely. That give us money in this country. And it's in a mess. Because I'm not too happy. I'm always despondent when I come up like this to talk about the problem in Nigeria. Every day. Thank God we have the Tigress. Yesterday they won. Yes. The 5th time. That's only the refreshing news.
It's almost like the soundtrack
today is full of negative stories.
It's almost like the soundtrack to Nigeria. It's Oliver, I'm sure you're familiar with this song.
Which of the songs? Tell me, my friend.
Problem. Another problem.
Oh, okay.
You don't know that song?
Problem. Another problem.
It's
we can laugh over these things.
But it's painful. I mean, if we look at the entire space from the turnaround maintenance on the refineries, it's been said that over $25 billion was spent.
Refineries that many have argued should have been sold.
Zero accountability.
Yes, zero accountability. No arrests, no prosecution. Nobody has been called to come before it. Also recall that the Senate had called for the NNPC MD, the former MD, Kyari, to appear before it, where he did not show up. Not just once, not twice, but I think the third time. And they said, come and explain to us what's really going on. Now, guess what? I do recall the month in August, he did show up, and he said, don't worry, the Port Harcourt refinery will be up and running. Nigerians, get ready. It didn't go up and run.
It didn't go up and run.
It did not up and run.
It was up and running.
No, it did not. Until September, October, when they now came up with that bottle. And said, look, we're ready. And then there was this form. You know, let's be honest, let's call it, that's a charade.
I mean,
that's a charade.
It's a national deceit. And people need to pay for that. But the CFO of NNPC under Mele Kyari, in fairness to the EFCC, they've called him in for questioning, but we don't know the latest. They're doing their investigation.
You cannot be holding the CFO when the head is free.
No, he's the one that says
but he gets approval from the
correct NNPC MD, Odulari, also was evasive.
He hasn't showed up till now. He hasn't showed up.
Until they issued warrant of arrest. For he not showed up last week. So they're hiding something from us.
Okay.
In all this mess, unfortunately, we don't have an active National Assembly.
All right. I want us to quickly...
The National Assembly is active. All the things will not happen.
All right. I want us to take
we held accountable.
Let's quickly take another paper as we're fast running out of time, the Nigerian Tribune, and see what the front page is saying. Still, everyone talking about the questioning of the FEC's approval of 712 billion naira for airport upgrade. Renovation wasteful misplaced priority, ADC says, is a strategic investment in nation's aviation infrastructure, Keyamo says Lagos terminal rebuilding to be funded with subsidy removal gains. Now, going on, still continuing, we have 2027, Tinubu's loyalist group revives structures. IPI demands immediate reopening of short radio station in Niger. NDLEA intercepts cocaine, tramadol consignments in vehicle side mirrors. Hey! At Lagos Airport.
Wow.
Now they're moving cocaine in vehicle side mirror.
Yes.
These people will never stop being creative. You see, this is why by the grace of God, I hope I can continue to say that I would never carry anything for anybody. Don't give me.
It's better safe than sorry.
Better send it to your,
Use a courier.
Well, sometimes I carry, but if I have to carry, it's like clothes, open everything up, let me see. Honestly, at the airport, I remember one time someone saying, please help me look after your box. I said, I'm not helping you. I'm so sorry. I'm wicked like that.
Yeah, the best way to that, let me look after your box. No, give it to the attendants.
Simply.
They're there. They'll help you.
Don't help me. It's just really sad because this is how some people would carry side mirror. Say, oh, my family member's side mirror is broken. Just help me. I bought it for them. Originally, it's cheaper. You don't know you are transporting
a young footballer that was executed in Singapore many years ago. Tragic story. President Obasanjo tried to intervene. He was just somebody, similar story, look after this, and they had to, it's death penalty.
Really sad, because in many countries in Asia, once you're caught, it's no going back.
Yeah.
Okay, common sweeteners may be accelerating puberty in kids. That's interesting. Northern marginalization, substantiate your allegation. MBF challenges ACF and Northern elite. My vow to serve one term, sacrosanct, Obi says. He says purposeful leadership doesn't require eternity to deliver. Find a job to do.
You're right. I mean, look at President Tinubu's first term. He hasn't even completed his first term.
No.
In just 2 years, the Falcons have won the African Nations Cup, and the Tigers have won the Afro-Basket. So we are being sacrosanct.
Yes. Okay, we'll talk about that, and then, okay, let me just take the two headlines at the top and we're done. By-elections, SDP kicks against rejection of candidates. Heads for court says decision illegal, unconstitutional. Find a job to do ahead of 2027. APC tells El Rufai.
Wow.
Your utterances distracting Tinubu.
What means is working?
No, I mean,
They say, what's up with one niche?
They're not comfortable with it's a sound and consistent criticism of what the government is doing. I don't forget that Rufai did the same thing when Yaradua was in charge. Late Yaradua was in charge. Rufai was very vociferous in criticizing the government and its policies and programs. So Rufai is in a familiar terrain, trying to put the government on his toes. If you're not confident with what he's saying, respond to what he's saying. Don't attack his
with facts.
With facts. He's playing his politics
well.
Do
you think, in hindsight now, looking at the way things have panned out,
he's getting the game.
Do you think the APC regrets not having him as a minister on their side? Because he was part and parcel of the Tinubu campaign. I remember him at Chatham House when they were all seated, and the moderator asked Mr. President some questions, and he said, look, one of the best gifts I have is the gift of delegating. And he said, Nancy, answer that question. So after Nancy answered that question, at Chatham House, he now came to Nigeria, they did not give him ministerial.
Even before then, before the campaign, the president made a speech in Kaduna, and it was telling everybody in public glare. Promise us that we are not checking out for PAD. We are staying with us.
Wow.
We win the elections. That I will not leave this stage until you promise us that you are not going out. We are not traveling. Everybody left his seat, came to the president on the stage, and promised the award. That kind of man was dumped because of intra-politics within the party.
So this criticism, is it coming out of vengeance?
No.
Is it personal?
It's a natural thing. It's a natural occurrence, and corollary. Somebody campaign for you. His name was penciled down to be a minister of power. All of a sudden, it was dropped. He went back to his drawing board and said, okay, what do? I've been messed up. It's time for payback.
But wasn't the president's fault now that he was rejected?
But he has the final say. The president has the final say.
The final say is the consequence of dumping him.
It's not the president that has the final say. Jehovah has the final say.
The likes of Ebufai, to me,
in political gambit and game.
Absolutely. The life of Ebufai, to me, is better to have him inside than outside.
Okay.
If inside, you can control him. When it's outside, you are your own.
Because it's very articulate.
I'd like us to look at this story. My vow to serve one term sacrosanct. I don't know if you're familiar with the brawl that's been going on between the former CBN governor, Soludo.
Two great sons of Anambra.
As executive governor, and then that of the former governor, where they've been going back and forth.
See, when people look at Obi and say, Obi is faking what they say, I want to tell them that when I was group news editor and group political editor of Daily Independent, I've had occasions of meeting Obi, both in Noka Government House and in Lagos. And I can tell you categorically and emphatically, Mr. Peter Obi is not faking anything. When Obi was governor of Anambra State, went to visit Obi. Obi, after having dinner with him, there was that time to retreat to the dinner, to eat dinner with him. When we got to the dinner table, Obi was standing wearing
an apron
and serving us. Peter Obi was wearing and serving us then. So I just tell people, I called some people when that thing was going on, the controversy. I said, this man is not faking. I've known him.
Let's not lie, which we
then at an event, around 2 o'clock in the morning, when he was governor with Sharaki, Mimeko, and Tambua, they were in Lagos, Protea Hotel, to justify the removal of subsidy. It was 2 p.m. in the morning, 2 a.m. in the morning. And we were restless, and I was the leader of the team. And I said, I'm going. I can be very stubborn. Obi called me into a corner. I said, please, we'll finish in minutes. And I thought to your wife. I called my wife, Yabiji. Obi, speak with her. So he's not faking anything. People don't understand him. It's not politics anyway. But on one time, Mandela, the most important figure that came out of Africa in the past century, Mandela staff for one time. His name is in gold, etched in gold. When Obi said I will start one time, I believe him. And meanwhile, he was trying to tell them that I won't stay there forever. Part of the bargaining, this thing, I will start for one time if you allow me. So Soludo is playing politics with it. He doesn't understand what is going on. He doesn't understand the man. And I'm not, personally, my children are fans of Obi. But I'm an APC person. And I voted for Tinubu. But I'm telling you now, because I don't want to sacrifice my integrity for anything, that this man is not faking it. He's saying the right thing. And I'm not saying it should be, if you want, it's no problem. But
do you see this?
Do
you see this? Their squabbles ending anytime soon? I mean, 2 great sons of Anambra.
No. Soludo is very intelligent. He's a first-class guy. Nsuka economics. But that does not make him a good politician or a good governor. You know, that does not translate to good governance. I'm trying
just
to
the way we had the professor in Rivers State, I believe, that used to have interesting names for his budgets.
I know what
I remember.
Oh, yeah.
He should show us his achievements. I'm not questioning the character and the
we'll come back to
I agree.
Okay.
So you said one time, it's possible to do it in one time. If you know what, if you are purposeful and you have the vision to do it, it's a possibility.
Okay, do you want to congratulate the Tigresses for winning?
Absolutely.
And do you expect the same amount that was given
to
No.
That'd be difficult.
No?
Why?
Is it that basketball is the lesser sport?
Why?
It's a taller order.
So why?
Because I was not comfortable with $100,000 they gave the Falconers. I was not comfortable with it. That was too much, given our economic distress. We are not too buoyant in Nigeria. In the 70s, when we have enough money, that can be done. Not now, which I can give them a lot of money and houses and even national honors. But we don't have the resources now. The Tigers will be honored, you know, but I don't expect the president to give them, to open the purse for them and give them that kind of money. Again,
well, he already set a precedent. He has to maintain
the
energy.
No, but it doesn't matter. They can be rewarded. They can be appreciated. You know, not necessarily with that kind of money and what they gave the Falconers.
It's like you're borrowing and then you are still spraying.
Thank you.
You are living big man life.
So,
you are borrowing,
the case of Oya
That's what they call boropos.
Okay. All right, I think it's important that we also take this as a story in the corner of the Vanguard. Every other story we've taken this morning, but in the bottom left corner of the Vanguard, killings. Benue leaders seek EU, UK, US intervention. We're still back to the subject matter of killings again. And if you go to the Daily Trust, bottom left corner again of the Daily Trust newspaper, you see bandits raid 16 Zamfara villages, kill 5, abduct many. You see how those, again, I would say just like...
Is that not the same Benue that they had an emergency town hall meeting?
So no, this one is Zamfara. So this one is Zamfara village.
So it's almost like a wild, wild state, the wild, wild west. Because you have these bandits on motorcycles, they're vast, ungovernable areas where they have become authorities to themselves. Just last week, they kidnapped some people and killed those who could not pay ransom. So it's almost like the governments can't man every square kilometer.
But at the same time, we should appreciate the government, federal government. We should appreciate the soldiers, the military men who are in those places, who are in the bush fighting there. They should be appreciated. In fact, they should be applauded by Nigerians. If they are not there, we can't be safe in our homes. You know, I think they are doing their best. You know, but is it good enough? That's the question. Is the money you have for those things being spent on it? That is the question. Are people held accountable? That's the question. So we should keep on pushing them and appreciating what they are doing. But there is always room for improvement in terms of security.
I agree with you. I think there's also a story that broke yesterday that the Nigerian military actually reached success over the weekend. They were able to meet face-to-face, eye-to-eye, combat to combat with some of these militants or these insurgents, and were able to, they
were
neutralize them.
The media, even though we are expressing reservation, reflecting what people are saying, you know, at the same time, we should appreciate these military men who are fighting these bandits and terrorists. Keep on appreciating them.
They were also able to recover some arms. That was in a clearance operation in Borno State. And that was a good one. We also had some who achieved success last week as well, upper week. So maybe little by little, but then again, we also would like for Nigerians to know that while the story is making the rounds that there's a lot of attacks on these villages, the military is also on the ground achieving some form of success. And I think that's a good one.
It will have been worse. They're not there. They're not up and coming. When Jonathan was the president of Nigeria, Nigerian president, Jonathan, the then governor of Borno State, now vice president, Shetima, was complaining. You know, was just making noise and without looking at the realities on ground. Jonathan now intervened. What are you talking about? If I remove the police and soldiers in your state, you guys are finished. So those guys should be appreciated. They're doing their best to secure you, your people. And the man kept quiet. So, and we should, even the policemen on the street at night when we sleep in our houses, they are also working. Even though they are not perfect. So they should be appreciated.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. I think we might have been done with all the stories.
Yeah, I think we can look at Vanguard, the front page, a powerful one. We have just a few minutes.
Yes, that silent killer story.
Killer.
Yes.
Soaring drug cost, ignorance, fueling hypertension deaths. Over 41 million Nigerians at risk as hypertension cases surge, and I agree. Recently lost a loved one as well. Patients forced into deadly drug holiday as treatment becomes unaffordable. Experts warn of national emergency as sudden death spike nationwide. We're addressing problem, federal government says. What's your take on this?
I was thinking that I'm still hoping that we should put the DG of NAFDAC on the hot seat for her to answer some questions regarding this headline of Vanguard. I lost someone yesterday. Oh. Yes. Oh. My stepmom and her sister. Oh. Very, very beautiful. Sorry about that. Very dutiful. I mean, and darling. 75 years old. Anytime she watches me on this program, you don't usually have and send me test. I'm going to bury her this morning. In a ladder. So she had an attack. They gave her some medication. And she died a few minutes after. So not unconnected with what we are discussing. So I think it's not a joke. It's not a very serious matter. When people buy fake drugs, when they are not original, when they are not.
I mean, it's bad enough that people are sick, and then
very,
you now take fake
it's very, very bad.
Have the doctors and nurses
inimical to the health of individuals and the nation itself. So now that should be up and doing. And that should not be sleeping at all.
Very sad.
I think this is the worst we've had in a long while.
And these guys are making billions from it, unfortunately. Making billions from selling fake drugs. I don't know what is wrong with us. And on Sunday morning and Friday afternoon, they go to the mosque or the church, to go and pray. So we should not stop crying and stop shouting. We should stop selling fake drugs. It's a very good story.
And then again,
raise our sensibilities and
I think that will be a special here on Breakfast because we're looking into it to ensure that we look into the medical sector. Yes, it's really sad. And then again, the president had mentioned that they are duty free on drugs and so on for those who are bringing. But it seems like it's not been implemented because the prices of, for asthma patients, getting inhalers is still high. And then people who have to take the drugs, if you go to the very respected pharmacies, they're very expensive. So what's happening to the duty free?
For some of us who are hypertensive, it's not too expensive.
Okay.
It's not too expensive. High sugar, diabetes, not too expensive. Manageable level. Yes, it's not too expensive. But my concern is them selling fake drugs. That is not what is good. It's not good at all. They should monitor them and make sure they don't
Exactly. Somebody whose salary is 45,000 naira.
No, you see, I know why I say they're not expensive. I know why.
Okay.
Yes. All right, we have to wrap up. We've come to the end of today's show. Ms. Haruna, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much.
And thank you to everyone who's joined us, our guests, our audience, and those who are watching via YouTube. Thank you very much for being a part of Breakfast Central. It's such a pleasure to have had you join us today. As we wrap up, want to say we hear that today is a celebration of Chief James Onanefe Ibori, who was the former governor of Delta State, and we said happy birthday to Chief James Onanefe Ibori, popularly referred to as the Ogidigbo of Africa. This is where we wrap up today's show. We'll see you again tomorrow. My name is Olive Emodi.
Happy birthday, sir. My name is Benga Boro, and the name of the governor I was trying to remember was Professor Ben Ayade.
Happy birthday, sir.
Professor Ben Ayade, who gave us budget of deep vision, budget of infinite transposition, budget of kinetic crystallization.
You know why?
Budget of Kabbalistic symmetrification, budget of Olympotic merrymasses.
What did they do? What did all of that?
Because he's a man of deep insight. He's a spiritual man. Please don't speak ill.
Thanks for watching Lagos and beyond. Thanks.
All right, bye. Bye, everyone. See you tomorrow.